So you are not worrying about writing anything down? Hello. Come on in. Have a seat anywhere you want. So you're not worrying about writing stuff down throughout this presentation. I will ask you to write one thing down or take a picture of it. But this Google address that's right there, our entire presentation is going to be housed at that one website. So if you'll write that website down until Google goes away, which we all know will be the end of time. Google's going to be here forever. So as long as you'll write that down, and it is case specific, everything we do today will be found at that one place. All the links embedded in here, and you're going to see that you're actually going to get the benefit of some work from teachers around the state. So come on in. No, we just got started, so you're on time. You are on time. Thank you guys for coming. You just increased our numbers 100%. So, very nice job. And no, you're not late, but I was explaining to them, you don't need to write a single thing down today, except for this Google address right here. Or so at least one friend writes it down or takes a picture of it. Everything I say will be housed on there. So you will not need to worry about. You're just going to come in and use your hands to learn today. So this is my contact information. So like I said, you don't have to write it down. I'm Robbyn Glinsmann. I am the Director of Elementary Math at the State Department of Education. That's a really big title to say my job is to support you. I am your math director. So whatever you need, I get to do. So you have questions about not understanding a standard, feel free to call or email me. You go, I don't know what to do. I don't have a new textbook. I don't have resources. How do I do this? You reach out. Now, there are 20,000 of you and just one of me in the state. It's not the best ratio. So I'm on the road a lot, like hence this morning. But I got to see a beautiful sunrise as I drove this morning. I give you my cell phone number. Please use it. If you ever have a question, after school planning, nights or weekends, feel free to call or text me. That's why it's there. I'm on the road about 3 days a week, so calling my office might be a little frustrating because I'm not there. That's my email address. It goes everywhere with me, and I try to return your emails within 24 to 48 hours. Also, that is my Twitter handle. From the superintendent all the way down to us, we are very active on social media to support our teachers in the state. And sometimes it's all we've got to get a hold of each other. So feel free to utilize any way, any means you can to get a hold of me. My job is to support you. And we'll get this at the end if you need it. So what we're going to talk about today is you. You are the most important element in your classroom. Mike Schmoker, one of my favorite educational researchers, says you make 6 to 10 times more of an impact than anything else you can do in your class. No matter what textbook you're using, no matter how many days a week we come to school, no matter how much money we do or don't have these days, you make the biggest impact. So if you are the greatest influencer in your students' lives, we need to make sure you are the best that you can be. 3 to 5 years of an effective teacher in a row can virtually wipe out the effects of poverty they have had in a student's life. That's how important an effective teacher is. So today, it is all about you getting to understand our standards a little bit better. So here's what we're going to do to start out. In the center of your tables, you should have a group of sorting objects. I was going to call them toys, but they're more like sorting objects. I want you to work together as a group, and any way you want, I want you to sort them. Any way you want. Sort them. You can do it a couple different times if you want, but whatever you want.
What do you think? Do you want to do colors, transportation, and animals?
Sorry you got a messy desk. We just had a lot of fun. Okay, what you thinking over here?
Colors.
Okay, what grade levels do you guys represent?
Teach T1.
T1, okay. So you're thinking like your kids, right?
Sort of.
Excellent, sort of. Okay. You can keep it like that, or you can explore one more way if you'd like. Ooh, what are you guys thinking over here?
Just like,
At first, animals, and then I'm thinking that we can do transportation.
Okay. So just 2 distinct groups.
Yes.
Excellent.
And then we can do
But you kind of have them sorted within the groups, don't you? You kind of got the fire trucks together. Excellent. Okay. What grades do you teach?
Second.
Both of you. That's right. I asked you.
Yeah,
Okay. So you're kind of thinking like your kids would think, right?
Yes.
You're kind of thinking like them. Okay. Oh, we got a rainbow over here. What grades do you guys teach? 5th grade, 4th.
K1, 2.
Oh, wow. You got some jumping to do over here with these friends. Okay.
She helped us out with this.
I know this is not really in your wheelhouse, is it?
No, and she helped us out. She gave us lots of possibilities.
It's hard to come down to this level sometimes, isn't it? Excellent. Fabulous. Okay, so here's what I'd like you to do. Okay, it does not matter. Whichever way you sorted, it doesn't matter. What I want you to do is take one Post-it note per group. So if you sorted and ended up with 4 groups, you're going to need 4 Post-it notes. If you guys ended up with 6 groups, you're going to need 6 Post-it notes. So however many groups you sorted into, on that Post-it note, I want you to give me the quantity in that group. So if you sorted and there's only 2 in that group, put a 2 on there. If there's just 3, put a 3. But a Post-it note attached to each one of them. So how many's in this group right here? 3. So put a 3 on there. Yep. 1 for each of your groups. So however way you guys want to do it. I love that. That's some high praise. She's going to turn into something good. So, Dan, I'm really glad you guys are in here because last time we were all early childhood. And so you guys are going to bring a great perspective. It's a lot of weight on your shoulders, but you're going to bring a great perspective. Okay, so now what I want, 1 or 2 people bring all of your Post-it notes to the door. Bring all your Post-it notes to the door. And we're going to put them in number order. I think 5 is the largest number we have. Do you guys have a 6? Okay. So from 1 to 6. Oh, never mind. You've got a 12. Okay. So we'll just put 12 all the way down here at the end. And then I think we can jump to 6 next. And then we'll just put the 6 there. Perfect. No, you're going to put it right there. We're going to create a bar graph out of these.
Should I attach over there to them, like in order?
It doesn't matter. You're spoken after my true heart. Okay, so let's talk about the ways that you sorted these. How did you guys sort up here?
Here we did colors.
Okay, so you guys sorted by color. What about over here? How did you guys sort? By color. You guys had just 2 groups. How did you guys sort yours?
Wheels, no wheels.
Wheels and no wheels. Excellent. So the possibilities are endless. I took these animals and transportation into a classroom one day, and a child sorted them by soft and hard. And I'm like, I hadn't really thought about the textile because some of them are soft and some are hard. I've had them get as specific as breaking down the individual animals or the individual transportation modes. But we do have that. Now, if you look at the board, sorting lays the foundation in our standards, and you will find it heavily in pre-K through 2. As a matter of fact, in pre-K and kindergarten, we actually have sorting twice, in the geometry strand and in the algebra strand. because geometry builds upon the sorting for breaking things into groups, which then is going to lay the foundation for sorting shapes, 2-dimensional to 3-dimensional, and then within those. So by sorting what you think are just cars and trucks and animals, lays the foundation for how we can put things into groups. Also, we lay the foundation for algebra, because now that we've sorted them, we can take them and we can put them into patterns. We can start putting them into groups, and now we have some unknowns. All of math is about putting things together and taking things apart. And at our lowest level, we do that very tactile and hands-on with these, and then we start changing out these shapes or these animals for numbers, and we move them on, and it goes all the way up. So it lays that foundation. Then it feeds really well into data analysis. So I took all the numbers and I've created this, and we don't have to count. We can use our eyes. When we sort into groups, what number did we have the most of? 2. 5th grade, would we call it most? What other word of central tendency could we call it? Mode. So in the lower grades we call it most. 5th grade could move it into mode. And do you sing the little song with them? Mode means the most. Yeah, well, I won't sing for you guys this morning. Yeah, it's a fun song. Which one do we have the least amount of? 3 and 12. So then we talk about how we have 2 of them here. 5th grade, what is your mind thinking about as you see these Post-it notes over here? Yeah. Your mind just, mean, median, mode, range. We can see this. We could also, let's forget about the numbers on top of these. So let's just look that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Leveling out, sequential. We can start leveling out, which means that we start seeing if there's a way that we can make these even. So it lays the foundation for averaging. So we can't quite get them. We have so many possibilities that all we did was sort, and then we take the data on here. At the lowest grades, I don't know that I'd pull Post-it notes in. I'd lay our things on the ground and create bar graphs with the items and lay them out like that. So many possibilities from one small activity. That's what today is going to be about. I have set up at every table 2 different sets of manipulatives. And what you are going to do is go explore hands-on, and you're going to start thinking about those standards you've taught this year and how these can relate to what you've done in your classroom. And what is great is we're going to have so many different perspectives. So let me give you a quick preview. Over here, we've got 3-dimensional shapes. 3-dimensional shapes, all of them in here. To add an extra element, I've given you some sorting circles. So some of you sort items in yours. Here are some things. These are circles you can separate onto the floor and sort. You can also overlap 2 of them and create a Venn diagram. So you've got something there to do. So those are right here. Right here we have Cuisenaire blocks. Cuisenaire blocks, for those of you that don't know, they're all different sizes from 1 to 10. To help us out a little bit, I've given us the little equivalence chart. I've even given you a pan balance. So you can think of some things to do with what you do to equate these in. We've got pattern blocks over here. Right here we have a hundreds chart. And with the hundreds chart, I've given some dice and some colored discs. So you can think about some ways to do that. Over here, I've given you some measuring tapes that you're more than welcome to take out, and some adding machine tape to think about using number lines in your classroom. So, and I'll leave the example, one example that's here. I'll leave that here. Over here, we have fraction strips that are in a package like this. And at the end here, we have Unifix cubes. Okay? What you'll also see attached to every set of desks is a large piece of chart paper. These were the ideas from the first hour. Some of them wrote straight on the chart paper. Some put their ideas on Post-it notes. Why this is important is for you to share your ideas and get them on here. If you'll notice on the board, there is a bit.ly link at the bottom there. Do you see that bit.ly link that says bit.ly/hands-on-OAS? If you go to that link, what you're going to get is this website right here that I've created for you. It's a Google document. And here is the manipulative. Here are some objectives that I've already identified. I'm going to take your ideas and type them in here. Or if you would like to type directly onto this document instead of writing on the Post-it notes, you're more than welcome to do that. But as you go through here, here are all the manipulatives from around the classroom that we're going to do in there. The other thing you have the benefit of is for the next week or 2 weeks, I'm going to be on the road doing this same presentation with other teachers in the other corners of the state. You're going to get all their ideas too. So that one Google document right there, you're about to just be fulfilled with all these new things and all these ideas added into it. So you just get to be the start of it, but you're going to also get to benefit from what other teachers across the state do. So really want you to sit down, productive play, explore with what you're doing. Think of what you're teaching now. Think of ideas, stretch your mind, and see if you can come up with something new. Sound good? You've got 20 minutes. Let your feet help you learn today. So get up and move around. She's like, I got to keep going.
She talked about geosolids. When you teach vertices, edges and faces, okay, they can do it when they see the shape. How did you transfer them to without, because they can't get it that way? We just scaffolded it.
Isn't this fun? Like you just sit
This is
here.
what I would do.
I know.
Like when my kids get when we do batter box in my class, like I'm over here doing this.
Well,
I still remember my kindergarten teacher had posters of pattern block things. And that was like one thing I
See, my own kids love when Mom brings the manipulatives home because this is what they're doing. Did you unfold them? Did you create nets?
Yeah, we started that way. We started with nets and went up, and then we got those out, and we did. The key is I just haven't found a way for them to, because that's, like spatially, we're
You're
going
right.
for like 3 different things at one time.
Have
and
you?
they can't just, so I was wondering if there was a
My class
activity or
this year,
something.
though, is very spatial. And they're special, too.
Spatial and
I
special.
found that very difficult this year.
Have you tried allowing them to build the shapes without faces? So either with marshmallows and toothpicks, or taking straws and cutting them into pieces, the bendy straws, and using the pipe cleaners to fit in between. So then they're not looking at faces because they're hollow, but then they just see the vertices and the edges. That might be a way to solidify, but you're right. Going from something that I hold to something that I flatten out and bring back up, it is difficult. And sometimes it also helps to go around the room, like I'm looking at all the rectangular prisms around this room, and bring them, everybody bring one, go find it, and bring it back, and let's, yeah.
See, and I'm not spatially oriented at all. So my kids actually got it better than I did, because once it's flattened out.
And I wish there was a good way, and I've looked and tried little rhymes or whatever to get them to memorize which one is the which thing, and that's part of it, is the vocabulary. They just get so confused with.
Well, and it's different. It's hard too because it's different when it's a 2-dimensional shape and a 3-dimensional. We don't use the same words. They're not corners anymore. They're vertices.
Exactly.
You
That's
know.
what I'm saying.
I know.
Is that that's what's hard, is for them to make that connection.
It is. It is hard.
So I just was.
My big thing was surface area.
The other thing, too, is a website to think about is called the Library of Virtual Manipulatives. If you've never thought about it, do you have a smart board or a projector in your room? Library of Virtual Manipulatives has every manipulative you could ever think about virtually. And they have a really cool one that takes the net, or takes the 3-dimensional object, unfolds it flat into a net, and brings it back together like an animated thing. Library of Virtual Manipulatives. Just put that in Google, and it will come up with it. No, virtual, not vertical. I mean, you might try vertical. I mean, you never know. You might have explored something new.
Okay, and it will show, well, you know what, Gizmo has one that has where the little table turned it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And as we were doing volume, they could stack the additional thing up. So I'm like, they could actually see. I'm like, look, there's a back to that.
That's what's so hard is
just do this what you're seeing right
flat. You do. You only see two. You only see a few of the sides. You know, you only see two of the dimensions. So, Library of Virtual Manipulatives has the thing that folds and unfolds. I know McGraw-Hill, their Virtual Manipulatives too, also has one. That's okay, but a lot of the publishers like that, their manipulatives online are free to anybody. But yeah, so that might help them seeing it flatten up and building, and maybe they can compare. So we're gonna.
Is this an actual game?
It is a game.
A set of cards.
No, it's a game.
Okay. So
Crypto is a game. Actually, give her 5 of the cards. And this would be great for teaching order of operations. So what you would do is pick. So today is the 8th day of the month. So our number of the day is 8. So what you're going to do is see how many numbers you can use and any operation that you want to come up with the number 8. So see, you're lucky you got 8. So you could be 8 by itself. But then you could, do other things. So I could see 10 minus 9 plus 7. So now you've used 3 cards.
Oh, so then they write them.
And they would write them down. And then once you've used those 3 cards, you can put them back as a group of 5 and go again. But you're just seeing how many different ways you can come up with it. I always pick the magic number or the target number as what day of the calendar month it is. You can do it whatever you want. This happens to be a manufactured game. You could do a deck of cards, anything.
I was going to say you could
But it's great for a filler if you need a few minutes. 5th grade does order of operations, so it's a great skill to think about. So she's like, I'm done. I got to walk her away.
I'm going to use all of them, and people are going to
surface area, what I would suggest, and I watched a classroom do it where every kid brought in a cereal box or a Kleenex box or something like that, and they left it whole to begin with and talked about what they noticed, and then they actually cut it up into the individual 6 spaces. And so, like, the cereal box had the 2 big rectangles, the top and bottom rectangle and the side rectangles. Then the kids sorted and they realized there's only 3 different types of shapes that make it up. Then they found the area of each shape, and then they added all the areas up. Does that make sense? And then they talked about how then they put the box back together with tape, and they then saw that the area, now how it became additive because it's all one piece again. What a teacher did, and it was a hard next step, your kids are spatial and they might understand it, is she then actually took wrapping paper and she pulled out a piece of wrapping paper that had the same area, just using 2 dimensions as theirs did, and they wrapped the box. And then they realized how all their 6 areas added together made that one big one, and it was the same as that. And they wrapped their box with wrapping paper. Does that make sense? But surface area, in 5th grade, I would never bring in that big, hairy algorithm to think about it.
Well,
But
see, I just told my kids stack the numbers, and then multiply your top 2, and then your bottom 2, and then your top and bottom.
See, I did it.
And we drew like lines.
I did it this way, okay? And then
Oh,
this
see,
is
I didn't
Lawton.
do that.
This is 2 times Lawton, 2 times Woodland, because I teach at Woodland Hills, so it worked out perfect for Woodland Hills, and 2 times Lawton High.
Yeah.
So, and they can, they remembered that, cause I was like, we gotta come some way for them.
Yeah.
So I was like, look at, and they will they say it. They're
My
like,
kids are
2
spatial.
times Lawton, 2 times Woodland Hills, 2 times.
See, I did this. This is what I did.
This is the first year we never had to teach this.
Right.
And so for us, we
I
had to
know.
learn how to do
Yeah.
it. I was like, I don't know how to. I haven't done surface area in forever.
5, 7, and 9. This is what I did. I said, okay.
Uh-huh.
I'm going to multiply these 2 numbers.
surface area?
times 7?
I've honestly never looked at surface area on there, but it wouldn't hurt.
Okay.
It would not hurt virtual manipulatives.
Oh, these two together? Okay, so 7 times 9 times 2. And then I said now we have to do
those
top and
two.
our bottom.
Okay, that works.
Yeah, 5 times 9 times 2, and then add together.
So let me show you, one of my favorite things about our standards is in the back, in Appendix B, is the vertical progression. So many times we just look at our grade level. We see this is what 5th grade, but we have it in the back. So if you're looking 3rd grade, they just figure out area, length times width, because they're making arrays. That's how they're learning multiplication. So if they're making a 2x4 array, they then learn to draw the lines around it, and they now have area. So that's where the first step. In 4th grade, they're doing area of things that can be decomposed into 2 rectangles. So now they have a T or an L or possibly like the letter E, but the shape can be easily decomposed into multiple rectangles. So then they learn, I find the area of this one, I find the area of this one, and I add them together. So that's where 4th grade does. And then in 5th grade, you move into surface area. So again, we're working on the additive piece to it so that we're adding the area of each one of the faces up, because that's what they've been used to. 1 face, 2 face in a 2-dimensional. Now we're moving into 3-dimensional. So we find the area of each face and add them up. So that's where the progression comes into. And then when they move into, they'll get some geometry then again in 6th, 7th, and 8th, Algebra 1, and then lay that strong foundation for solid geometry after that. So, but you're right, surface area is brand new. It's something we're still exploring because this is your first year to put the standards in play. We're going to spend a lot of time this summer working with teachers, what worked, what didn't work, sharing ideas, and building up our frameworks document. Have you had a chance to see the curriculum frameworks document? We just got some funds approved, and we just hired 24 more teachers who's starting working with us in a couple weeks for 8 months. And their job is to beef up that frameworks document, start building in some tasks and some activities. So when you don't have a surface area, that's the place you get to go and find that stuff. So we're working to try and provide you with top-notch resources for that hands-on learning for your students.
And what are you doing this summer? What did you just say for if the 5th grade teachers want to get in on what you're doing?
Those framework writers that we just hired, there's 24 of them that we'll be working with. One of their in-person meetings in Oklahoma City this summer, we're going to open up to any teachers in the state. Okay. And it's going to be like a statewide PLC. Okay. So we'll have like a 5th grade room, and we're going to, can't pay you because I don't have much money, but you get to come to Oklahoma City.
Oklahoma.
I know, it's Oklahoma, yeah. But if you'd like, we're going to bring you all together, and we're just going to facilitate conversations. What worked this year when teaching the new standards? Like this. What didn't work? Bring people in from all the corners of the state, share ideas. Then you will be helping guide our framework writers in where they're going. Because if they keep hearing the same story over and over, surface area, we know that's a hole that textbooks aren't covering, and that we need to find things to support our teachers within the state.
Okay.
I know. That's those mythical things. Yes, ma'am.
What is the Library of Virtual Manipulatives good for?
It is an online website that allows manipulatives to be put up on a smart board like this.
Okay.
So if you don't have them in your classroom, you can use them up there to manipulate concepts. It's also good for, they have some stop motion animation. So like seeing a 3-dimensional object whole opening up to the net. So they're able to put some animation into those that we can't do. So they would allow your students to see the pieces coming together.
Okay, and for what standard or?
All of them. I mean, that website's got thousands of, it's got pattern blocks. It's got, one of my favorite two are base 10 blocks. And when you're using it for regrouping, you can actually click on the 10 rod and they all break apart into 10 ones. So then you can then see when I'm regrouping what happens. So you're able to, I hate to say this, but bring manipulatives to life. They're able to do things we can't do with them in person. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, you guys have got about 3 more minutes. If you've not been to an area, go over there, explore. We're going to share some ideas. So, and I think I might have brought.
It would be really neat if they were equal.
I know. I think I might have brought.
9 plus 1 was the same as like 7 plus 3, and they weighed the same. Like that would be, you know,
So they could see
that it's
balance.
equal. But it's not quite. I mean, maybe it's
I
just
think
a scale.
I got a cheap scale.
But I mean, how cool would that be if you could just say like
But
9
that-
plus 1 is the same as 10?
But that's the goal of this. Let's see here. Are they sitting equal to begin with?
Probably not. I didn't check.
Okay, but yeah, we can move those around. But you're exactly right. That is the point of this, is to be able to do that.
And say, oh, they're the same.
And then see, now we're a little closer. But that's exactly right. And to be able to see that 10 and 9 and 1.
I'm going to test out 10-1 block and see if it's the same
Okay.
as a 10. Yeah, to see if it...
Do you have 10 there? What do you
No,
have?
because I think these are made out of different things.
We might be mixing some.
Yeah, I think they're mixed. Because this is a different material than this.
Is it the white one?
Yeah, but see how this one's like foamy? Like feel the end of that? And like none of these are that way.
Yeah, see, we've kind of mixed and matched manipulatives over the years. But you're exactly right. That's exactly what this should be used for, is the balance and seeing the equivalence there. So what do you guys... We're going to do those in a second. So we're going to make some of those. She's really a go-getter. I mean, she wants to get to everything. Well, here you go. Open them up. They're what's called 10... these are called quick look cards. But this is a 10 frame. So it's just getting kids to see quantities different ways. So this is 5 and 5. We would normally see it combined in 1 and 10. But it just gives kids a chance to see things a little differently. So, what grade do you teach? First grade. So you know how you have that standard that says subitizing, instantly recognizing a number? Right. That's what these would be used for in a class. And we're going to do an activity here in a minute. But it's all the different ways. Like, I would go to about 10 with your first grade students. I wouldn't get into these higher level numbers, but like this or something like that. These are ones that are actually manufactured by somebody because they're nice and on thick paper. Here's what I do because I'm a teacher in Oklahoma. It's just a plate. I call these garage sale stickers. You know, do something like this. I would start with the common dot patterns you would see in dice and dominoes. Then I would incorporate 10 frames. But then you could start doing something like this. Second grade would move into more repeated patterns to lay the foundation for multiplication. You could even get mean and put it in the shape of a number, but that's not. That's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, another 9. You could do 3 colors, so they're starting to see 3. You could do this. So these are called quick look cards. We're going to talk about them as a quick idea, but you can buy these, spend money, or you can go and for like $2, you have like hundreds of them. Mm-hmm. So that's what these are. Cool. So, yeah. They're, yeah. Yeah, we're going to... Oh.
They're teammates.
I'm sorry.
We are.
Okay. It's like your family. I mean, once you teach someone, do you finish each other's sentences?
She done stole my bulletin.
She stole your bulletin? That's flattery. Imitation is the greatest form of flattery. Yes, you sure can. You can keep as many of them as you want. So, okay, so if you'll do me a favor, if you will clean up whatever manipulative you're at so we can get back to our seats. You don't have to put those back in there. Do you need any measuring tapes in your room? It's hard to find things in the world that are not metric, isn't it?
It is, but I'm just saying because I like this, that they're bendable and that they like aren't, because I said my kids like to, like when I'm not looking, smack one another.
I know.
And so I was like, these are good because they, you know.
I honestly don't know. I honestly have a trash bag in my supply closet that are full of these. So if you guys need any of these, you're more than welcome to take those with you.
That funky, non-terrible stuff.
Take all of them.
Oh, are you sure?
Yes,
Okay.
like I told you, I have a trash bag full of them, and yes, you are more than welcome to have all of those. So you could cut them into those. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're just kind of gonna take a gallery walk around the room. We're gonna bring up a manipulative or hold it up, and we're gonna talk about what you could do with it, your ideas in the classroom. I'm going to build upon what you say. If any of your friends, you can tell I'm early childhood, part of me. If any of your friends say an idea, feel free to add in to what they said. Okay, so let's start up here with our geometric solids. What are you thinking about up here with geometric solids? How could we use these in the classroom?
You can sort by number of faces.
Oh, I love it. Just a big sort. So we could do number of faces that they have on there. For our lower friends, because kids think of which ones roll, which ones don't roll. Yeah, which ones stack. I love that idea. Which ones can stack. So then, and then you have this funny one like this. Does that technically stack? You know, like now I got a kid doing this, so then I got a kid arguing for and against. But what great ideas. So we can sort these. What else can we do with these? We can identify them. You're right. When you say identify too, I can also see a kid holding this in their hand and walking around the school, trying to find something that looks like this, like a real world collection. A ball, like I can see there, a globe, you know.
Even saying that, you can, pick up some of those other shapes and just say, okay, think of things around your house.
Oh, yeah.
Or look around the classroom. What has a shape that looks like that?
Fabulous, you're right. And I love it because even, we don't always think of the tall, skinny ones or see them, so these have them in different areas. These have the... Yeah, you can fill them up. You're exactly right. I like the way you're thinking. Volume is a brand new idea that has been pushed down all the way through our elementary standards this year. Kindergarten, first and second grade spend all their time just filling up objects. Kids been doing this in the sandbox for years. One bucket to the next, in the bathtub, in the swimming pool. They've been doing it. And so kids just need time to explore, fill things up. And then we get to this age-old question in second grade. And what they're going to find out is they're going to get two objects that look completely different, but hold the same amount. And that blows their mind. And then they just want to explore why. Why does this pyramid and this rectangular prism, or why does your tall, skinny cup and your short, fat cup hold the same amount? And you look at them and you go, I don't know why. And now we have a phenomenon, and now we're busy going. Till we get to third grade, and in third grade we start systematically filling items up. Because in third grade we've learned what an array is. And so we put an array, one layer of blocks, and then we put another layer, and we start systematically filling it up till when we get to fifth grade, they now know that it's length times width times height. But they haven't learned it through a simple algorithm. They've learned it through hands-on understanding and conceptual understanding. So yeah, volume is one of those. Let's talk about the Cuisenaire rods. I feel like this is a manipulative that fell away for a while, and now it's starting to come back. Mr. Cuisenaire should be very happy about that. What were you exploring over here with the balance?
So I looked at just equivalents. So I put a 3 rod plus a 7 rod on one side and then a 10 on the other side to see if they would come out the same. Just so kids could see, have the visual of this is exactly the same.
Just don't buy a cheap balance when you do that.
Yeah, and make sure all your blocks are made of the same thing.
Yeah,
it didn't work when I tried 10 little cubes with a 10 rod. they were made out of different materials, so it obviously didn't work.
But she's exactly right. Letting them see with a balance, because they feel like this is scientific, like they're doing an experiment. But is 3 and 7 over here the same as 6 and 4 or 10? She had the 10 rod and 10 ones. 5th grade actually has an objective that says true or false. So now you really can see true or false. 4th grade has one where they're finding unknowns. So if I've got 10 over here and I start with 6 over here, what do I have to do to get this equal?
And that's where I find kids don't understand what the equal sign really means.
That's right.
They just see it in math that it's at the end, and that's their answer. But I'm like, the equal is both sides have to be
The same as.
You're exactly.
They get that, and they really, in 5th grade, do not get that.
And you know what? We're working on it as low down as 1st grade when we talk about equivalence. But you're exactly right. So many kids would walk in and see 2 plus 2 equals, and they think that operation is in the equal sign, not the plus sign. They think the operation means, that equal sign means I got to do something with it. Whereas I've watched teachers with balance put an equal sign right there so they know that it means it's balanced. It's the same on both sides. We can help kids out by doing a couple things. We can flip the equal sign to the beginning of an equation. Oh, it does.
Same darn problem.
Yeah.
They can't.
They can't do it. They can't do it. So all of these things, we start with equivalence as low down as 1st grade, and you guys are hearing how all the way up into 5th grade it plays a part. But pulling out a balance is really easy. This also lays the foundation for fractional parts, because we talk about fractions in the lower grades as fair share, so that we all have an equal part, and then we build up into those pieces. So talk about your beautiful artwork over here and what you're doing with pattern blocks.
Well, you could talk about symmetry and trying to, I teach younger kids, so something I do, I tie it in with my reading, and I have them build, like, letters, or I have them build, I'll build an alligator, or build, but patterns, repeating.
Excellent. That's right. Does anybody else use pattern blocks in their classroom? How do you use pattern blocks?
Daily, for different things, sometimes patterns, but one thing that really kind of blew their minds was we used the regular blocks or whatever, and we were working on stability, and I asked them to make something stable using the shapes, and so then they're trying to line everything up, and they're making it they're building up instead of building that way, and so that they love that, and so they love being able to try it, and then they say it's stable, and then they blow on it to see if it's going to blow over or not, and they love that.
That's a great idea. The girl that sat in her space earlier, she was I'm sorry, I just ruined your beautiful masterpiece. This trapezoid here, she was talking about her students, but when you take 2 trapezoids and you put a triangle in here, we've made another trapezoid. So many times they do not see composition of a new shape, and like we talked about, all of mathematics is putting things together and taking it apart. And so now we see the same thing, but it's made up of 3 pieces. A lot of times our students also see just what you said. It's flat. They don't build up. So this is a great way to get them some height. The other thing this is fabulous for is fractions. Because there's 3 ways we can talk about fractions. We can talk about sets, which is like your sorting shapes that you did. We can also talk about area. An area means that we have the same whole every time. So the hexagon would be 1 whole, but now I have 2 halves. They're equal. So if I was to take this and share it, this was a pie or a pizza, each person would get an equal. We have done a fair share of it. It's the same size. You can do the same thing with the 3 blue rhombuses or the 6 triangles. So pattern blocks are great ways to see that. So here's what I'm going to do. If you had ideas in your head and you didn't share them, make sure you get it on a Post-it note or on the posters at the end. I'm going to go in and populate that Google document with all your ideas. I had you take a picture of that Google link so you could get back to the presentation, so you could find it. One of the things that is brand new in our pre-K, our kindergarten and first grade standards this year is the idea of subitizing. Does anybody know what subitizing means? You.
We saw that word and we wondered.
Ooh.
Like dice. Like you look at the 6 dots and you can say 6.
You got it. Subitizing is instantly recognizing an amount. So looking at a dice. You guys don't have to count the dots on a dice anymore, do you? No. You just roll it and you do it. And it's probably one of those that you don't remember when that point happened. I was so blessed to be able to see it in my own kids. We were playing Monopoly. I have 2 daughters. And you guys know Monopoly already takes like 3 days to play the game. Well, when you have a kid that can't subitize and has to touch every dot to count the dice, it takes like 5 days to play Monopoly. And so my older daughter would get so frustrated with her little sister and would just blurt out the number. And I'd have to be like, don't, she needs that chance. And then one day we pulled Monopoly out. She didn't have to count. And I said, Taylor, how did you know? She goes, well, Mom, 6 is just 2 groups of 3. See? And I'm like, she's got it. You know, she subitized, instantly recognizing an amount. The reason why subitizing is so important is because it lays the foundation for all number operations. Students start seeing instant combinations. 3 and 3 are 6. 2 and 3 is 5. 4 and 1 is 5. So different number bonds come together for the same. That is why it's written into our standards, but it does not mean that it is just a kindergarten and first grade standard. Because the human brain can subitize up 7 to 10 items in a random pattern. Instantly, your brain does that. That's why phone numbers are 7 digits. 7 is a great number that your brain can remember. Anything over 10 to about 20 can be done instantly if they're in repeated patterns. So we start doing this in first grade, repeated addition to lay the foundation for multiplication. And we continue going on. But what we find in the upper grades is when our students start falling further and further behind, it's because they have no number sense. They didn't have that foundation. So these are excellent activities to do. And we're going to do one here quickly. So what I'm going to do in just a second is I'm going to change the screen. You're going to get 3 seconds to look at the dot image on the screen. And then I'm going to change screens back. You have to tell me what quantity is represented on that screen. And the second question is the most important. How can you justify your answer? It's not enough to tell me what number is there, but you have to tell me how you know that. Okay? So are you ready? You only get 3 seconds. What number was represented on the screen? 10. How did you know it was 10?
There's a 10 frame.
Okay, so you explain.
It was a 10 frame, it was full.
Okay, she saw a full 10 frame. Who saw it a different way? How did you see it?
I saw 4 red and knew that the rest were yellow.
Okay.
I saw 4 and 6.
Perfect. So you saw 4 and 6. Excellent. What did you see?
I thought 5 and 5.
5 and 5. Yeah. So look, 3 different ways for the same image. I purposely did things here to draw your attention to it. I did purposely use 2 colors so that we could represent a 10 fact, so 6 and 4. I purposely used a 10 frame because it's a point of reference. So if it was full, a student would have that. I also did it because students see a 10 frame as 5 and 5. This is a perfect activity in your classroom. It takes 30 seconds to a minute to lead in your class. The more you practice this, the better it gets. You can find, they're called quick look cards. You can Google quick look cards, and anybody's going to want to sell them to you. You know that. You can get really nice ones that look like this. These would be more for a 2nd or 3rd grade classroom to start seeing the repeated quantity. I mean, we even get some crazy ones in like this. I mean, this would be great for 4th and 5th graders. And then we get back to simpler ones, so 4 and 4. With our lowest friends, we want to start with the dot patterns that we find on dice. Then we want to move into 10 frames. Keep their frame of reference. Then once they do that, then we can start moving into other things. That might be 3 groups of 5. Instead of, 1 10 frame filled up, we could look at 2 with 4 and 4. So there's lots of different ways to use these. These are called quick look cards. Well, because we live in Oklahoma and I'm a teacher in Oklahoma, I can't afford stuff like this. So here's what I used to do. I went to the Dollar Tree and I bought the cheap plates that nobody uses at a picnic because you have to use like 10 of them. That ain't going to hold anything. And I got the garage sale dots. You know what I'm talking about, these cheap dots that you put on the sale. $2, and I'm going to have like 100 quick look cards. And I just made them like this. Put dot patterns on them. Then, when I wanted to move up with my kids, I changed colors. So instead of 2, I started doing 3 so they could see or I would keep the same color, like that. Or I became a really unique teacher and made it in the shape of a number, but that's not 4. So they would get into looking at it. Then I just did different ones. What I used to do with these is I would have them on a ring, and they were hanging by my front door. Because you all know that time you've lined up at the door and you have like 2 minutes because the hallway is full, your clock doesn't match the other clock in the school. So now I have something to do. Instead of twiddling my thumbs or trying to keep them under control, I do this. I go, okay, you got 3 seconds. Are you ready? Look. What number did you see? And how did you see it? And I always make sure every different idea is allowed to be said. So like we talked about up there, 5 and 5, a full 10 frame, a 6 and 4. What kids are going to do is you're going to have one of 2 things happen. One, you're going to have that one-upper. You know, the one that always has to have the last word. And he's going to come up with more and more ideas. It's not a bad idea because their brain's going to keep thinking. So looking at the one at the board, they're going to go, well, that's 5 groups of 2. You know, where they're going to start thinking of other things. And it's going to resonate with the peer. That peer education piece in this activity is vital. What you're also going to have is kids that can't see 6 and 4, but they know exactly what you said. That's a full 10 frame. 10 is 10. That answer is just as important as the 6 and 4 and the 5 and 5. So these are instant activities. We built them into our standards. It's even great for our upper grades to do it, to challenge their minds. Like I said, you can find a publisher. You can go in and put quick look cards, print them out on white paper, print them out on whatever you want. But it's an easy thing to do. So here's what I want to leave you with today. We have new standards in the state. So we have strived very hard at the State Department to get as much information out to you, but also to find the easiest way to get it there. So what we have done is we have created the OK Math Toolkit. So when you click on this link, oh, the smartboard's not on. Hold on. You keep looking up there. I'm going to talk from back here. The OK Math Toolkit is one page that has every resource we have ever made in one place. Wait for it. Here you go. So everything that you could need from the State Department is in one place. Every one of these, see all these blue ones? Those are links. Everything we have ever made from anything curriculum, everything assessment, mailing list, everything is in one place. So we've created this for you. Also at the very top, my information, and Levi Patrick. He's my secondary counterpart. He's right next door. So you can find this at this bit.ly link. We have made it a Google document so that we can update it as we create new things. So this is the one thing, one-stop shopping. It's kind of like a Black Friday ad. It's everything you should ever need. The second one is our OK Math Curriculum Framework. If you've not seen this, this is our large project that breaks down the standards. Each one of you has a grade level that you can find over here. You can click on it, and it breaks down your standards into small bite-sized pieces, and so that you can look at it with an eye that breaks it down into what we call a nutshell to make it easier to understand, especially those of you that may be emergency certified. and it allows you to understand your standards deeply. So we have that. The last two things on here are our Facebook groups. If you are on social media, feel free next time you log into Facebook, the very top to put hashtag OKMath. We have 4,400 math teachers from across the state in one Facebook group. We share all our resources there first. Teachers are constantly in there sharing ideas, asking questions. The group before me said that Lawton's about to go to Eureka Math as the new thing. Well, just so you know, Tulsa Public Schools got that at the beginning of the year. They've worked the kinks out. So if I were you, I'd go on to this OK Math group and say, okay, Lawton's about to get Eureka Math. Tulsa people, tell me all about it. They've already gone through all the process, so they know the good, the bad, and the ugly, and they've got some amazing resources aligned. Utilize that. Leverage that. We have another group called OK Math ELEM. That's just a few thousand, just us elementary teachers. Constantly in there sharing ideas. 5th grade, you had that standard this year, that objective that talked about the area of a shape with a curved edge. The conversations in this group were amazing, and they were sharing lessons, and what did you do, and here's what I did, and they were sharing resources. These are great places. The other thing, too, is Levi and I get tagged in these a lot. So if a question comes up or a teacher says something and you're like, yeah, that doesn't just really pass the smell test. I think she's got her information confused. I get tagged in there, and then I can help find the truth or navigate through those busy waters. So great ways that makes the state of Oklahoma not so big and connected in between. We have the exact same thing for science, OK Sci. The same thing in ELA. It's ELA OK. Between the three groups, we have over 10,000 teachers in the state of Oklahoma connected in one place on one platform. So I hope you walk away with at least one idea today of how these standards can be brought to life in your classroom. If there is ever anything I can do, my job is to support you, and you now know how to get a hold of me. I would be happy to help you in any way that I can. And I think you get to go to the next session. Don't you have one more? Yeah. Excellent. So enjoy your day. Thank you so much.
We're so good.
Oh, thank you so much.
Can you go back to that very first screen? Because I didn't.
Sure.
Thank you.
No problem. Thank you. Did you get something new?
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you.
So much.
No problem. I'm looking at your shirt.
Oh, it's
Well, we're counting down at our house to a Disney cruise. 59 days.
You will love.
I mean,
where you going?
we're going to Alaska.
Oh, that's our next one. Disney cruises are the best.
Okay, that's good to know. We cruise and we Disney every year.
Yeah.
It's become our family vacation. This will be the 5th year in a row we've Disneyed, but we're doing a Disney cruise, and whole family of 8.
It's unbelievable.
Oh, my girls are so excited.
It's
Never been.
Yeah.
I mean, you feel like a king and queen when you walk.
Well, they're so excited. We're going on the Wonder, and it just got reimagined.
Yeah. That's what we're